Welcome, everyone. I am Dr. Hailey Nelson, your friendly pediatrician and ambassador for Safe Kids Central California. I'm also Dr. California America with a platform of stay safe and be well. I love partnering with Safe Kids to bring injury prevention tips and tricks and help out kids and families so that they can really just be having the best summer, which is what we're doing right now before school starts. But overall, keeping kids healthy is kind of my jam and what I like to do. I'm really excited to be here today because we have interns. That's right. Safe Kids has some high school students who are getting summer credit to help us out with building our Instagram page. So if you haven't seen it, we'll mention it again, but certainly check us out over there, as well as building content for Facebook and really just making sure that we're hitting the target audience, because we want to ensure that little kids are safe, but teens, adults, everyone needs safety tips. And so that is what we are working on behind the scenes. We haven't been live as much this summer, but we have been busier than ever. So I'm really excited and want to introduce you to our interns. So part of their assignment was that they were going to join me for a live. So here we go. All right. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Okay, so we have Miss Peyton and Angelina, our two Safe Kids interns. Peyton, let's just go ahead and introduce you. Do you want to say like what grade you're going into, favorite sport, and favorite color?
Hi, I'm Peyton. I'm going to be a freshman, and favorite sport, I play softball, and then my favorite color is green.
Awesome. And what about you, Angelina?
I'm Angelina. I'm going into my junior year, and I used to play volleyball, and my favorite color is purple.
Yay. Okay, so we got green, we got purple. You guys know my favorite color is pink, because that's just, it makes me happy. But I like everyone finding their color. Okay, and then in our warm-up, we actually, in getting ready to talk about injury prevention, we were also talking about our favorite animals, and I wanted to share that. So, Peyton, what is your favorite animal and why?
My favorite animal is a crocodile, just because I've read a bunch of books about them, and I think they're super interesting, so they're my favorite.
All right, and Angelina, favorite animal?
My favorite animal is a tiger because I like their fur.
They have cool stripes. I like it. My favorite animal, I mean, at Valley Children's, I've got to say the giraffe. George, giraffes have the biggest heart of all of the land mammals. That's actually why he's our mascot. So they have to have really big hearts so that they can pump the blood all the way up to get to their brain, which I think is kind of a cool fun fact. But then my other animal that I enjoy is the narwhal. It's the unicorn of the sea, and they make me happy too. So jumping into now kind of our safety stuff, now that you've gotten to know our interns a little bit in terms of favorite colors and animals, Miss Peyton, what were some of the topics that you've learned about so far this summer?
So the two topics I learned about so far were ATV safety and lead poisoning.
Okay. And with ATV safety, that's something where people are out there riding around and we see traumas happen. So those can be some pretty significant injuries. So what are some of the tips that you've learned about keeping yourself safe with ATVs?
So when riding ATVs, you should always wear safety gear. So things like long sleeves, pants, closed-toed shoes, helmets especially, things like that.
Nice. Yeah. So having all the right gear, and then the equipment itself, right? It comes in different sizes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it comes in different sizes. So like ATVs specifically, sizing the ATV to the child, and then wearing the correct size helmet, correct size shoes, pants, sleeves, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So having all of this stuff, and then when your kids grow, you've got to make sure that their equipment and what they're using grows with them. And so really checking out, and if you haven't played in a while and you're going back out, making sure it still fits the right way. Because my goodness, I feel like I turn around and my kids have like outgrown things left and right. We are buying new helmets. We're, having to get the new gear, and that can be expensive, but it's really important, because if you're using something that's too small, then it's not going to help you the same way as if it properly fits. So for ATVs, both the ATV itself being the right size for your child if you're choosing to have them ride, as well as their equipment. And then what was your other topic, Peyton, that you learned about?
It was lead poisoning.
Lead poisoning. Okay, so where do we find lead?
So lead can be found in a lot of things. It can be found in old paint, soil, some foods. It can be found in ceramics. So a lot of things just around the house, things you might not know.
Yeah, definitely. And then what was the kind of key message there for if you're concerned about lead, who do you call?
Your doctor.
Right. Ghostbusters. No, you call your doctor. That's what pediatricians are here for. And indeed, that is something that we check for babies. So at the 12-month and 24-month visit, that's the little finger poke that we do when you come in for your child. So we screen for lead poisoning. But if you're worried about your child having an exposure, maybe you're renovating an old home, or there's something where you say, I wonder, we certainly can always check at a different point. So both at your pediatrician's office as well as WIC, those are places where lead screening takes place. So just being aware, there's a lot more locations that you might encounter lead. The reason why it's an issue for the littler ones is that little kids often put things in their mouth. I worry less about lead for bigger kids because they shouldn't be chewing on things. But for a teething toddler, that's where they can get into trouble if they have been feeding on something, they get that lead and then they have too much lead in their system. So that was our take-home message from that episode. Cool. All right. Good job, Peyton. You did your 2 episodes. You gave us some talking points and covered some injury prevention stuff. I love it. So now we're going to transition over to Angelina. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us what you learned about so far.
So I learned about safe sleep and teen driving.
Okay. And I love sleeping. Tell me, though, safe sleep, we're talking about those babies. So how are babies supposed to be sleeping?
You could do ABCs to check if your baby's sleeping safe, with A being on alone in their own bed, and then B by themselves on their back, and C in a crib. So
perfect. I mean, that's it. ABCs. Alone, on their back, in their crib. So we really, especially newborns, they wake up a lot. So parents, room sharing is fine. And having that bassinet or that crib right next to the parent's bed, but that separate sleep space for that baby really makes a difference. And then also the being on their back as opposed to their tummies. Babies don't have the head and neck muscles. If you think about if you've ever had to hold a baby and their heads are all floppy, like they don't have that strength. They don't pick their head up. And so that's why they can get into trouble, and we worry about them suffocating, and we worry about SIDS. And these things, the reason why we talk a lot about the ABCs and safe sleep is they're so important for making sure that your baby then wakes up the next morning. So, okay, those were our high yield sleep things. And then what was your other topic?
Teen driving.
Teen driving. What should teenagers know about driving?
Parents set an example for their children, even if they don't know it or not, but they're a big, they look up to them, so they're a big example to them, and they shouldn't be on their phones, but phones aren't the only distraction. Anything that takes you away from focusing on the road and not paying attention is a distraction. Also, there's classes that are offered, the Start Smart classes, and pull over when instead of trying to multitask. So,
yeah. Oh man, such an important topic to discuss, and it's an exciting time as a teenager to be able to get your learner's permit and to kind of explore that freedom and be able to drive, but that it comes with a lot of responsibility. So I love that you emphasize that parents, we need to lead by example because our kids are watching us and we are their first teachers. But then really making a conscious effort to reduce your distractions. I don't know the stat off the top of my head for how much more likely you are if you're texting while driving of getting in an accident, but those numbers are huge. And so really it's no text is worth it. Like I'd rather you get there safely. So pulling over if you do need to respond, or maybe even not having your phone where then you're aware of people texting you so that you can just safely get there. So good points there. All of these topics that the two of you talked about, we have done episodes on. We're going to link them below this one. So if people are like, oh, I want to know more about ATVs, we actually have a safety video that we did. So there's like a whole video for that. We have a video for the safe sleep. We've done some episodes for teen driving with our local police department. So we're going to share all of that with our friends who are tuning in today. But I'm so proud of the two of you for taking your summer to learn about safety and injury prevention. So thank you for joining. And please, if you are watching this and you haven't already hopped over to Instagram, these two ladies are kind of the masters behind the launch of our Instagram account and all of the posts that are coming up there. So that's another way that you can follow along with Safe Kids Central California besides on our Facebook page. So please go follow us in both places. Your comments, your questions, like that's what we want to hear so that we can make sure that we are getting the information out to all of you out there who follow along, because at the end of the day, we want everyone to stay safe and be well. So, all right, ladies, thank you. You did it. Yay! Bye, everyone.
Bye.